Hi and welcome. So let's go do a cold dark start in the Apache and then try to fire the Hellfire missiles. Just in this mission, I'll just explain what I'm doing. We'll go through the controls. So we'll go into adjust controls. Stuff that you're going to need include turning on the battery, so master ignition switch, APU push button cover, open close, and then the APU push button start stop. Then you also need clickable mouse cockpit mode, so that you can obviously move the mouse around. Then once you're going, then we need to do these buttons. We need to do number 1 engine start switch, number 2 engine start switch, power lever left idle, and the power lever right idle. And then once you've done all that, you can then go and jump through, and you want to set something to this basically. I've got to go to my access commands, and you'll see here just under access commands I've got power levers both, so if you can put it to like halfway, and then you won't get the engine warning sounds, so you just put it to halfway, let it start up, and then go all the way, and then that's the way to run the power levers both. So you'll see me do that. Then we need to get into the controls for the other player, so we're hitting 2, jumping to the front, and then 1 is obviously going back to the main, so we'll go change it to CPG. And then the controls we need here are quite different. So if you need to take control, you can hit C on the keyboard to take control, and then on top of that you have these controls. So the first thing you got to do is you got to hit weapon, like the weapon page, and then you're going to bring up for missiles. So we're going to go to something for selecting this LHD weapons action switch, WIS switch, or missile. So once you got that now selected, then we've got to go and do this, which is a little bit tricky. So you're going to have something selected to this site select switch TADS right. You need to hit that button, site select switch TADS right. Once we have done that, then we can move it around. So then we're going to move it around with RHD manual tracker down, up, left and right. So that's how you're moving it around. Then once you've found your target, you can select it with this LHD image AutoTrack offset switch center. To deselect, you can push this OFS center. So but to select, you want the IAT center one. And then once you've got it selected, we need to hold down this button on the joystick. So RHG LRFD trigger, second detent. Now the trick with this, depending on the weapon you're using, is to hold it down for a little while until you see the symbology change in the screen. Once it's changed and you've got a solid white box, you know you're good. But the trick is to make sure you hold this button down long enough. Then once you've done all that, you can pretty much fire at your target, like you've just learned how to do a Hellfire. So then you're holding down this LHD weapons trigger switch, second detent. Obviously you're going to go through the first detent, and then you keep pushing it, and then you've got second detent, depending on your joystick. I'm using the WINWING joystick, which you'll also mention and see in the description of the video. So let's just go through and do it, but I'm going to pause it unlike a lot of people and keep coming back to here as I do each step, so we can work out what the buttons are. We'll just click cancel, and here's our plane, our aircraft, the helicopter. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into the cockpit. I'm going to go through everything that I click. So I've got to get rid of the IHADSS, yeah. So I'm going to go to adjust controls, and we're pushing this on the keyboard, IHADSS show. We're pushing that. So get rid of IHADSS show, and then we're going to close the cockpit door. So to do that, we're pushing this. Interestingly, it doesn't want to do that at all. Got to change it to pilot, and here door cockpit open close, so we're hitting that one, and the door cockpit open close. So left alt and C now for looking around, and then we're going to do is we're going to hit on the battery. So if we go into here, we're going to hit this button, master ignition switch BATT. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit master ignition switch BATT. Cool. Then I'm going to do this. I'm going to open the APU door. APU push button cover, open close. So we open that, and then what we're going to do, if we're pushing this APU push button start stop, so we go into here, APU start stop, and we wait. Then the next steps is once the screen comes on, you can then start the next process. I tried to do it quicker, but it just never works. So the next stuff we're going to do is we're going to hit these buttons. We're going to hit the number 1 engine start switch and number 2 engine start switch. So we do that. Then once that's started, we're going to hit the power lever idle left and power lever right or right. And then once we've done all that, I'm going to use that power lever to bring it up to both. So I've got it under access commands, but it's this one here, power levers both. And I'm using the Thrustmaster Hostess Warthog, so the little lever that's on the bottom right here, I'm just putting it to halfway, and then I'm going all the way. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're just letting it start up. Just waiting for the APU. Yep, so now we click engine start number 1. Engine start number 2, and you'll see it comes up here, it was on. We'll let that continue. Once you're at about 24, then you can do the levers, so left idle, right idle. It's going to go the rest of the way. And then you're using that lever, whatever you might set it to, for your power. So I'm just going to bring it halfway, you'll notice. So we're at 67, we'll just let it go and continue before I do anything. So they're both green and it's settled. So then I'm just going to get that lever, I'm going to put it to halfway. See that? And if you put it to halfway like this, you don't get any of the warnings. So we're at halfway, no warnings, and then we go all the way, and still no warnings. Cool. So that's the little trick to make sure you don't have any warnings. If you want to, you can take off the tail wheel, and you can take off the parking brake, but that's not really necessary for taking off. And yeah. Alright, so let's go get this in the sky. Just going to give it a little bit of power. And we're in the sky. That's it. And there's no engine warnings, nothing like that. We can take off down the runway here, and we'll go head towards where we need to go so that we can make our Hellfire shots. So now you just need to fly the helicopter. The only thing I'm noticing is this master caution. Click that and that beep is gone. And if you want to, you can turn the APU off, so just whack that off and close the lid. You can see the lid is closed. So our targets are over that direction. So we'll just fly ourselves towards where we need to be. This looks good, and then we'll just turn ourselves towards the targets. And then settle ourselves. I don't need to settle myself too much because I'm going to jump into the other seat. So number 2 on the keyboard. And then left control and V. And then I'm at ground speed 0, so don't have to do too much here. But just check, if you did have a ground speed and it was still moving, just tap S on the keyboard to stop it. So we just need to get rid of my IHADSS, so I'm going to do that. Similar button to I used last time, but you're going to have to rebind it for this position in the aircraft. So again, if I'm going to adjust controls, you've got to change it to up here, CP/G, and then this joystick, make sure you got IHADSS show on something. So all I'm doing is just getting rid of that. Cool. Great. So we're stable, our targets are over here, and we're all good. So next steps, we're going to turn on this safety. So to do that, I've got a button bound to that as well. So on the throttle, clicking this AS/Pushbutton. But instead of doing that, you can just go and click this. Okay, it's armed, it's done. Down here, we're going to click weapon, and then this is where we're going to click something. So what we're going to do is on the throttle, this is where I've got it set. I'm going to click this. So LHG weapons action WOS switch M missile. So if we go to that and we click missile, it's now armed, and we can see it's armed from this up here, arm, and we also know we're armed up here. Great, so now here's the tricky bit. Next thing I'm going to click is going to be on my joystick, and it's this. Sight select switch TADS right. So I go click TADS right, sight select switch, and up comes this screen. So now we've got something that we can move around. So to move it around, I'm then going to do this. I'm clicking on these buttons. RHG manual tracker down, RHG manual tracker up, RHG manual tracker left, RHG manual tracker right. Cool. So we're going to click those buttons to move it around. So we point it in our general direction that we want it. And then we need to zoom in. So to zoom in and change the zoom controls, we're going to be using this. I'm using LHD TADS field of view switch, medium, narrow, wide, and zoom. So LHD TADS field of view switch. We're using those four to move it around. Cool. So let's do that. So we'll go in, and we got ourselves zoom in. We can see our targets. So we'll go select one. So put ourselves above the target, and then all I'm doing is this. I'm going up to adjust controls, and in here, again under joystick, I'm going to be pushing this button. LHG image AutoTrack offset switch, IAT/center. That's what I'm clicking. So we go over to that, we click it. It's now selected. So now what I want to do is I want to set the laser to it. I've got to hold it down so that I'm recognizing. I'm not using the kilo, I'm using the L's at the moment. But the process is pretty much the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down this button. The RHG LRFD trigger second detent. Okay, so that's what we're wanting. So what I'll do is as I hold that down, you'll notice this little box which is dashed at the moment will change to a solid white box if you've done it long enough. And you'll also see some of the data down here change. So I'm going to hold it down. You can see we've got these triangles around it, and we've got a solid white box. So once you've got the solid white box, you know you're good, you can let go. Great, so now then the final step is just this. So all we're going to do is we're going to hold down not the first stamp, but the second detent. So LHG weapons trigger switch, second detent. So I'll try and do the first detent, we'll see what happens, but I believe you need to use the second detent. So yeah, and obviously if you've got like a WINWING joystick or whatever, it's got a detent in the trigger, so you're just building it into that. So first detent, keep clicking, and you've got second detent. So we'll go over to that, and I'm just going to hold down first detent, and it's fired on first detent. So there's your answer. Okay, I didn't need the second detent, but at the end of the day it's fired, and let's see what happens if we can hit our target. And we've target destroyed, so we got it. Yeah, and we've got just enough targets out there for our missiles, so we'll just go through the rest of them. Just some things which I am noticing is, say you're going to select one, and then you want to go over to another one, and we'll go select this one for instance, and we'll target him. So now we can hold down the laser button essentially on this. So when I say laser, I'm talking about this. RHG-LRFD trigger, second detent. And you see it's got to a solid white box down the bottom here. So we know it's got the target, but we've still got one selected there as well. So that means we can jump to it. So at the moment, this is the one which is enabled, the number 2. So I'm just going to hold down now the first detent. Missile goes. We can watch our missile. And it's working its way over towards the target. It's going to hit those coordinates. We've got our target. Now say you want to jump back to that first one, so we're just going to hit this on the joystick. That's interesting, I can't show you at the moment, but here we go. So we're hitting LHG image AutoTrack offset switch OFS center. So we're going to use that to jump to the other one. So we go and tap it once. It brings us over to number 1. And then I'm just going to tap up once again just to re-select it. It's selected anyway. And then hold down that laser button, which I'm referring to. Wait until it gets to a white box. And then just first detent. Fires the missile. There's the Hellfire going for our target. And whammo, we've got our target. So now we'll just move over to our next target. We'll go and select him. If you need to deselect because it's coming up as 2, just go down on that button which I was just showing before. So just click down on it, then click up again and see how it comes back just to 1. Then do your laser. Wait till you got the solid white box and then just first detent. And we'll just wait for that missile to hit. It's going to hit exactly that one. Bang. And we'll go select this one. Again, just going to target lock him. Deselect the previous one. Go over. It could be a good idea just to deselect after every time, just to be sure. But yeah, we've got him selected. We're going to laser him. Get a white box up. And then fire. First detent. We've got a countdown timer down here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it'll hit soon after that. Yep, destroyed. So we've got 3 left, so we've got to go find 3 more. We can play with the zoom a little bit more. We're just checking we've got 3 more out there. There's the 3. So we'll then zoom in. And the other thing you can do is you can do the TV or FLIR mode. So that's TV mode and then that's FLIR mode. So to do that, all I'm doing is this, and it's in the description of the video. We're pushing this LHG TAD sensor select switch FLIR or LHG TAD sensor select switch TV. So if you want to use the TV mode you can, but let's just show us using the TV mode if we can. Zoom out slightly, and then of course we can change our brightness here and our contrast and so forth. So anyway, we're going to select him, hold down our laser, waiting for a solid white box. We've got the solid white box, then first detent, missiles away. Target destroyed. We go to the next one. And by this point in the video, I'm pretty certain you guys have got the idea. Selecting him, holding down, solid white box, fire. And then we can deselect him, we can move on to our next target. And see how it's still hit that target with them deselected and everything. So then you can just move on as soon as you fired. So that's really the big advantage here. So I'm going to target lock him. Fire. Deselect. Zoom out. And let's watch. And we've hit all of our targets the first time. So that's pretty good. So yeah, we're just in the front seat at the moment. You can fly from here, just tap C on the keyboard and then you can fly. But I'm going to jump back to the back seat. So we'll click our arm button up here, just put it back into safe mode. One to go back to here, and then we can basically fly. So we'll just put it back on the ground. Turn it a little bit so that we're pointing in, I think, similar direction to how we took off. I'm not sure, but anyway, we're going to point in this direction. Just gently come up, and we'll put it on the ground. And we can just make sure we've got a parking brake on. But yeah, we're on the ground. Oh, and we had the tail wheel thing going. If you take that off and just give yourself a little bit of throttle, you can roll it around. There we go. Just so we're off the sand there. That's it. I've gone into a little bit more detail, but hopefully you found that helpful, and you can definitely work out how to fire the missiles now. Have a great day.